Thanks for joining me today, guys. Hope you're having a good one. My name is CollegeSportsREVIVED, and I welcome you to the second episode of the Seattle Seahawks Madden 23 Franchise Rebuild on the channel. And if you missed episode 1, the link of every series I've done is always in the description of my videos. You can go check it out if you like, but quick recap, we highlighted our season 1 roster, had a mentorship with Gabe Jackson and Charles Cross, recapped our preseason, losing all 3 games, and we finally made the cut to a 53-man roster as it's finally time for the games to count in this series as we make our season goal selection to open up episode number 2. Personally, I don't like the idea of picking 4 wins, even though that is probably what's going to be the more likely scenario. Playing in the NFC West with a roster that's just not up to snuff yet, but I chose 7 wins to just show that we want to compete right from the jump. A blatant act of tanking normally doesn't sit too well with the better players in your franchise. For the first time, we'll take a sneak peek of the draft class coming out in the year 1 offseason as we try to find the future quarterback and future core here in the Northwest. That is top priority. But with the haul of draft picks secured out of the Russell Wilson trade, we're going to have ample opportunity to upgrade the squad in a number of areas. The top 10 of this draft class is actually pretty interesting. We've got 3 quarterbacks highlighting the board. We also see plenty of pass rush and 2 tackles at the top of the nation as well, with offensive tackle Preston Sweet as the early favorite to go number 1. To maximize our scouting assignments and their abilities, I fired every scout off the jump, looked at our weaknesses on the roster, and then hired accordingly. And with each need on the team, we're going to preview the top options at each position. We added another 1st, 2nd, and 5th in the Wilson trade, so nailing these additional draft choices could instantly make or break this series and have us ahead of schedule in the rebuild. At the top need, obviously it's quarterback. I know Geno Smith held his own in the preseason and likely won the battle for season 1, but no matter who won the battle, we all know Geno Smith and Drew Lock, they're not the answer. And I'll be back later in the season when we actually have some more skills and traits unlocked for this class, but for now we're just taking a look at how deep each need is. Chris Bradley, 6'4" out of Texas, is the top guy, but Brett Serra, a West Coast kid, is also projected top 5, and Brian McDougal, another 6'4" signal caller from UCF, has first round projection. Outside of those 3, there's not really much else to work with. I put our 2-star scout on defensive tackle. We're just so thin there with 35-year-old Al Woods as our starter. There's 2 solid tackle prospects that can maybe go in the first round, but take a look at TJ Bush, 6'3", 332. Give him a couple inches on his height, and that's pretty much Jordan Davis's build right there. I used our first 1-star, on linebacker, and I like what we have starting outside on the team. And we also have Boy Mafe developing, but inside linebacker needs some upgrades. Outside has the higher ceiling in the class, with 2 top 5 projected players in Philip Randall out of Iowa, Chris Cook from Boston College, but inside linebacker has more quality players to choose from. Maybe not a higher ceiling, but definitely more depth here with potentially 5 first-round players at inside linebacker. And our last 1-star scout was used on defensive back, but our 3-star quarterback scout also has a secondary expertise in corners, so we'll have plenty of eyes on the defensive backs coming out. Taj Bernard, Chris Fenderson, and 6'3" Bruce Teague are all first round rated. Now, a position I couldn't get eyes on is offensive line. More specifically, I wanted interior offensive line. That's a huge concern on this team. There's 2 elite tackle prospects with some depth at those spots, but not much in the way of interior linemen. There's 2 centers that could possibly go in the first 2 rounds, and only 1 guard is first round rated, so not the most deep class at those positions. But there's a little preview of the draft class. I'll be giving plenty of updates throughout the season on who impresses us as we unlock grades. I haven't yet decided on how I'm going to show it, but I'm thinking maybe 1 round at a time, maybe 1 position at a time every time we look at our board. I'm not sure yet, but I'll come back to that later on in the season. But it's almost time for football as head coach Jock Diggs heads to the podium after an 0-3 preseason, and the reporters immediately bring up the elephant in the room: Russell Wilson's return to Seattle on national television. How will his troops stay focused, and how will we defend our former franchise quarterback? Let's go with limit the passing. The Broncos finally have their talented trio of receivers healthy: Judy, Sutton, and Hamler, so we can't let them get familiar with those guys in familiar territory. And the game day goal: Wilson under 250 for the night. We'll game plan accordingly, but we can't forget about our own offensive strategy against a scary Broncos defense that blitzes a lot. The only last adjustment I make before training this week is making our rookie corner, Kobe Bryant, 4th round pick out of Cincy, our third and final focus player, joining Cross and Kenneth Walker. I thought about Abraham Lucas, our right tackle who struggled in the preseason, 3rd round rookie, but he'll be the first focus player, I promise you guys, whenever we add more spots and we unlock them. And when you sim practice for the week, you just hope for no injuries, especially in the eve of a high profile game like this one. And let's see, Gabe Jackson, he's out for the first week due to a minor knee injury. That is a huge blow. Phil Haynes will step in week 1, but Jackson is the top lineman on a line in rough shape. We've already had plenty of troubles in the run game and protecting our quarterbacks during the preseason, but we're going to have to make do as we have some upgrades before week 1 as well. And speaking of Charles Cross, here he is, who's currently being mentored by Jackson, of course. Gets some help as he's now 74 overall. Pass protection goes up. Darrell Taylor is one of the better pass rushers we have on the roster. We'll continue to work on that specialty for a pretty balanced upgrade here. Artie Burns had a forgettable preseason as our number 2 corner, but it doesn't get any easier week 1, plus 2-man coverage for the vet. And preseason standout D. Eskridge, whose rapport with Geno Smith really impressed us, will begin the season as the 3rd receiver. And take a look at this upgrade. D is working his tail off in practice as well, so pretty interesting there. I think he really earned that 3rd receiver spot. So it's time for Wilson's return to Seattle. Emotions may be running high, but we have to keep it professional, lining up adjacent to the only quarterback in Seahawks history to win the franchise a Super Bowl. Things are much different now as Wilson lines up with a talented core of receivers, a star-studded defense, and a running back looking to make a big second season leap. Jacques Diggs and Nathaniel Hackett also make their head coaching debuts at the NFL tonight, so anything can really happen. There's a plethora of storylines tonight, but it looks like we're about to get going tonight. Emotions definitely running high as we are about to kick this football away as the Broncos elect to receive. Jason Myers kicks it away, and we are underway as the Seattle Seahawks rebuild is finally here. KJ Hamler bottled up by Sidney Jones. And here is the man of the hour, Russell Wilson, his return to Seattle as he earns a standing ovation and pumping his fists to the crowd, a salute. As the Super Bowl 48 champion is by himself back there to begin his return to the Northwest underneath to Albert Okwuegbunam for a couple yards there, and the first down of Russell Wilson's night tonight. Wilson again looks to throw on the second play from scrimmage. Here comes KJ Hamler, who tore his ACL week 3 of 2021 as he makes his return to action. Now 2nd and 1 as Wilson. He has Javonte Williams back there with him for the first appearance of his second season in the NFL. A little flip pass. Nice play by Jamal Adams out in space, but they do give Okwuegbunam the first down. So now we'll jump to 2nd and 8. Now the seasoned vet Melvin Gordon cutting it back to the middle as he'll get the Broncos very close here. From the 44, Wilson trying to keep the drive alive. 3rd and 1. As it's a fake to Gordon, he'll keep it. It's a read option, but it's bottled up by starting inside linebacker Cody Barton. Russell Wilson's coming off a career-low 43 carries last season, perhaps due in part to that hand-finger injury he was dealing with, but really nice job there containing him, and we will take over after a stop is forced. So this ball is punted away back to Seattle, and calling for the fair catch is D. Eskridge, and it's actually downed inside our own 5 as we see Geno Smith for the first time here in Season 2 about to take his troops out on the field. Smith won the preseason battle between him and Drew Lock. He threw for 472 yards on the preseason, 2 touchdowns to win the job, as the first give of the series is to Ken Walker, who does receive the start. But honestly, I'm trying to split the carries between him and Rashad Penny. Ideally, it's 50-50 from the beginning of the season, but we'll see. As Geno Smith, for his first throw of his season, he finds Tyler Lockett. This one up ahead past the 35, as it's a 28-yard reception to Tyler Lockett. Geno Smith, all he has to do is get the ball to these playmakers. He has the weapons available at his disposal. But just getting the ball there is the big question, as Pat Surtain was almost going the other way with this one. Rashad Penny now gets into the fun, but this is a 3-yard rush before he's taken down by Josie Jewell. So it's the 3rd and 7. Smith by himself, as the slot is D. Eskridge. Geno again has time, as this time he finds Noah Fant up to the 40-yard line. 19 yards. As Noah Fant secures his first catch against his former team. He was one of the bigger pieces in that Russell Wilson trade. But Geno Smith's first drive as starting quarterback here in Season 1, so far so good. It's yet another completion. DK Metcalf in traffic. It's about 9.5 yards. As Metcalf coming off a season where he was a little short of 1,000 yards, but he looks to get back above the threshold here in his 4th NFL season. Kenneth Walker will then move the sticks on the next play. 3 for 7, Kenneth Walker running behind a pretty beat-up offensive line. Obviously, no Gabe Jackson here in Week 1. That's the big question tonight, as Walker slips through, and he's up near the 15, 10, taken down by Pat Surtain. After a big run there, Kenneth Walker gets us down to the 9. How about this little blocking scheme? Noah Fant setting the edge against his former squad. And Kenneth Walker with a pretty big run there. And how about even Abraham Lucas in the run game making a play? That was a real team effort to get us down inside the 10. We'll see if we can convert. It's a 2nd and goal. Rashad Penny cannot have the same success here. He's bottled up. So now 3rd and goal. 3 receivers in the pattern, bunched up close to the formation. It's Geno Smith throwing from his own 20, but he's taken down by Randy Gregory, who will cut this drive short. It was a long one, but the new acquisition, Gregory, on a 5-year deal with an option to get out after 3, he adds some star-studded level playmaking to Denver Broncos defensive line. So Jason Myers will put together our first 3 points of the new season. Taking back the football, 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. It's Javonte Williams and Russell Wilson. Nothing there from Williams. Only ran 1 time on the opening drive. Cody Barton again, another nice play in run defense. 2nd and 10. Wilson, he's pressured. Boy, Motley off the edge. He wants to go deep to Jerry Jeudy, and it's deflected up into his hands. It's caught by Jeudy on top of Sidney Jones. 1st down at the 17. What a grab by Jerry Jeudy. Look at this, deflected, and I think that tapped his shoulder, but somehow he keeps his focus long enough to locate the ball, and the Broncos are now in business for the first time tonight. Their first red zone trip. Williams will get him up to maybe the 14. Now 3rd and 7 with only seconds left to play here in the first quarter. Split 5 and 5 so far, Denver's play calling between the run and the pass, as Wilson for his 6th throw. This one's underneath to Melvin Gordon out of the backfield, but it's Jones coming up and making a play, so they will be forced to kick it away as well, as it's a 3-3 game. Only a handful of drives into this one. Pretty surprised that drive was so nice. That first scoring drive of the season, that field goal, yeah, that was a nice one, as this one's underneath after a holding penalty on the first play of our 2nd drive, and that's 11 to Tyler Lockett. As Geno Smith again, it's another bunch formation. This one goes to Kenneth Walker, who runs downhill for 6 more, 5 for 35 out of the gate. Kenneth Walker, big expectations for him. Only 21 years old, and he doesn't turn 22 until October 20th, as this one is a throw outside the numbers to Noah Fant. Geno Smith starting 6 for 6 today, and it's another chain-moving pass up to the 39 now. As Geno is again back to pass, but this one's off the mark, so there's his first miss of the night. But you have to like what you see so far from Geno. It's only a small sample size, but you have to like this maturity as he floats one just into a tight window. Noah Fant, another 1st down, up to the 38 of Denver territory. He just got enough air over Josie Jewell to fit that one into his tight end. Jock Diggs loving what he sees. Oh man, what a start for Seattle. I don't think anybody expected us to come out on prime time and be this prepared so far. 7:22 left to go as the free rusher takes down Geno Smith. It's Bradley Chubb off the right edge, and obviously Abraham Lucas allowing 5 sacks in the preseason. That side of the line not all that prepared for the regular season, as Smith just gets away He gets this one away before he can take the sack. So Jason Myers for his second field goal try. This one's from 42, and we do take a 6-3 lead as Myers puts in 3 more. So it's another scoring drive for the Seahawks, but obviously just a couple yards away from these turning into touchdown drives. But for the first time today, we're going to hop into some simulating, and it didn't take too long into the simulation where we see Russell Wilson finally taking the keys of the offense, gets them down to the 15 and connects with Courtland Sutton for a touchdown as Denver takes their first lead of the contest. 10-6 game now. We'll see how our offense does in simulation. Geno Smith, his third incompletion, but then he gets it back to DK for 19. Kenneth Walker not catching the pass, as again it's another drive where we get into Denver territory. Metcalf for 11, Noah Fant for 9, who's had a busy first half. Tyler Lockett down to the 8. Let's see, we're approaching the 2-minute warning. 3rd and goal from the 4, and it's Tyler Lockett grabbing a touchdown pass. Going tit for tat here in the first half. Seattle taking the 13-10 lead. As we jump back in, a couple possessions later, Denver has the ball with 13 seconds left. We're trying to stop a scoring drive here at the end of the first half to stay in the driver's seat, as Wilson now finds a man. It's KJ Hamler to get him up to perhaps Hail Mary territory. They do have a timeout still to play with, though, so they can get themselves a little bit closer for perhaps a field goal here. It's 5 seconds left. Wilson, he's going to have to hurry. This one across his body, and it's picked off by Justin Coleman up the other way. Not enough time to get down, but Coleman, our nickel corner entering the season, or rather a slot corner, I should say, with a nice play there. Wilson just off the mark trying to make a play. And we head into halftime with a 13-10 lead. I don't think anybody expected this from us, but Seattle looks good out of the gate. Unfortunately, there is one thing to tell you guys about. The game decided to glitch here at halftime. This is glitch number 3 that I've seen in this franchise already. Change of possession, and for some reason we already have the ball on Denver's 44. Run a couple plays in sim, because I was planning to sim the first couple drives, and we're already down to the 25, so I guess for role play's sake, we'll just say that D. Eskridge had a nice long kick return out of the half, and now we take the ball, and we had it at Denver's 44, and already a couple plays, and we're already inside the 25. Kenneth Walker again with the first down. Quick feet there, getting us up to the 16. Walker, 11 for 55 in his NFL debut. Gotta love what you see. For a kid, 2nd round pick out of Michigan State. Now we're lining up in the eye. It's Rashad Penny, who has not found the same success, only his 4th rush. So now 3rd and 7, Geno Smith, he's had trouble converting here in the red zone outside of the one simulated drive, as he has plenty of time. Looks to the end zone, and it's Metcalf who pulls it down on top of 2 Broncos. Touchdown Seahawks as we open up the game to 2 possessions. DK Metcalf again, we've seen this time and time in his career, making the extraordinary look ordinary. It's 2 very different sidelines right now, as you see. It's basically written all over the Broncos' face right now, as an entire sideline just kind of dejected and out of it, as now Russell Wilson, jumping back into the next possession, faces a 3rd and 7 as he scans, steps up in the pocket but has nothing, and he just gets rid of this one. Perhaps we're getting fortunate, as we are the beneficiary of Wilson not really having as much time to gel with these receivers, as this is his first game, obviously, so maybe that's been a bit of an advantage to us. As Cody Barton, oh no, he's shaken up one of our starting linebackers. Him and Jordan Brooks, they man the interior linebacker positions in our new 3-4 look. And Cody Barton will be heading to the locker room after a pretty awesome first half. He had a couple nice plays in the run game, and that's going to be a big loss for us moving forward. So we're going to head back to simulating for a little bit here as we get deeper into the 3rd quarter. D. Eskridge for his first catch. Love to see it. And Rashad Penny, 45 yards to put us up 17 points late in the 3rd quarter. Oh my goodness. Kenneth Walker plenty of success in the first half. Now Rashad Penny rips off one for himself. And then this drive, just a disaster for Denver. 3rd and 22. They're forced to kick it again. What has happened to Denver? This place is going wild. They have our back here on opening night. As again we approach midfield. 3rd and 2. Kenneth Walker Cannot convert though, so we'll punt it away. And we are approaching the fourth quarter. Artie Burns, nice play in coverage. Javonte, though, gets the first down. The first down in 2 Denver drives. Wilson, he'll convert, or rather get a rush and then convert on the ground. Montreal Washington for 17. Under 10 to play in the ball game. They need a touchdown on this drive badly. 3rd and 1, they don't convert. And on 4th and inches from the 23, they kick the field goal. Pretty interesting there. That'll make it a 2-score game at least, but surprised they didn't try to go for it there. So we're gonna keep simulating here. 2nd and 8. Kenneth Walker converts at midfield now. He stays busy. Bradley Chubb, big sack though, and that'll pretty much get Denver off the field as he does it all here. So with 7 minutes left to go, we're just trying to hold on for dear life, trying to halt a Denver Broncos comeback as Melvin Gordon begins with a 5-yard rush. Wilson, just over 200 yards for the game. Remember that game day goal of 250, trying to stop him from reaching that benchmark. This one is just converted for a first down, Jerry Jeudy. All right, so it's a 2-score game. There's still some time left. And with the way Denver's defense has been locking us up the last 2 drives, there is a chance as this one's knocked away, or so you might have thought. Jerry Jeudy makes the catch, but he's out of bounds. 3rd and 10 as we avoid a second deflected catch from Jerry Jeudy down the field. Wilson again with time. Boy, Mafe off the edge, but he's shoved out of the way. Broken up though, Jamal Adams. Nice play down the field, big fella. 5:41 in the 4th quarter. There's not really any other options. They got to go for it here. 4th and 10. If they don't convert, that's pretty much it here from week 1. Wilson up top as this one's knocked down. It's the all-pro safety Quandre Diggs for pretty much the game-sealing deflection. He tried to go for KJ Hamler, who's been one of his more popular targets today, but Quandre Diggs, what a play rotating over. So we can pretty much put this game to rest with one more scoring drive and beginning from the Denver 39. That's pretty much likely as Smith finds Fant, who turns upfield and shows some yak ability, getting us down to the 13. A catch and run of 26 yards. Fant has had an awesome Seattle debut. Oh my goodness, man. Geno Smith too. He can do no wrong tonight. And behind this battered offensive line, that is probably the most impressive part of this game. Rashad Penny from 9.5, 10 for 76 and a score for Penny, who is in search of a second contract with Seattle this season. 2nd and 1 now. Smith across his body. He finds Tyler Lockett for touchdown number 2. Seattle pretty much putting this game away. They got the finishing touches on this one. Lockett for his 2nd touchdown on his season debut tonight. And Geno Smith, he had another touchdown. That's his 3rd of the contest. What a debut for Coach Jacques Diggs. What a week 1 performance this was. This is not what I expected, but hey, that's just the beauty of these rebuilds. Uchenna Nwosu now with a sack. But yeah, anything can happen when you load into these games, CPU versus CPU. I personally think that this format is the best game of Madden you can get in terms of gameplay wise. Obviously, Madden 23 just got here, so there's still a lot to be seen with this game and the patches, but all in all, I'm just excited, and the games like this just show the insanity of and the potential of this series and what's possibly soon to come for us. This is going to be an awesome ride. I'm sure this was just an anomaly. I think we're going to have a pretty rough year 1, but as the second stringers check in, I don't think this is something that anybody expected for us to put in our backups week 1 against Russell Wilson in his return to Seattle, but that is what happened as the clock hits all zeros. Drew Lock, nice little conversion there against his former team to close things out. 34-13, the Seahawks beat the Broncos on Monday Night Primetime in Russell Wilson's return. This was something that the football world did not expect. Oh my goodness, what a game. And what a way to open up this series. Jacques Diggs begins his career 1-0 in emphatic fashion. And it all started with Geno Smith tonight. He made the best of the time he was given. 280 through the air and 3 touchdowns. What a season 1 debut, outperforming Russell Wilson, who threw for 228. So we also achieved our game day goal. The running game was also a big surprise as well. Walker and Penny both hit 76 yards, and they achieved those in different fashions. Walker gritted out a lot of those yards, while Penny had that one long home run score in the third quarter. Javonte Williams looked pretty quiet today. Tyler Lockett paced all players with 8 grabs and 2 scores. DK added one himself. Noah Fant flashed some ability to create after the catch, and D. Eskridge caught 3 passes. Judy was the lone bright spot for Denver, as he grabbed 108 through the air, and the closest to him was KJ Hamler with 35. How about this offensive line? Geno Smith sacked twice, Lucas allowed both, so not a great day from him again, but outside of that, they created holes for the backs and gave Smith enough time to make plays. He was only pressured 7 times. It was a tough debut for Abe Lucas, but when you battle Bradley Chubb and Randy Gregory in your first NFL game, your hands are going to be full. Uchenna Nwosu had a sack in his debut with the Seahawks. Cody Barton was loud in the run game, however he did get hurt on that special teams play, and slot corner Justin Coleman recorded an INT. And the media gives Diggs a pat on the back. I don't know how he did it, but he somehow smoked Wilson and the Broncos on opening night, and our reward is 2,500 XP for our defense. A defense that now has one new injury moving forward. We're going to get Gabe Jackson back for week 2, but Cody Barton will be sidelined 4 weeks with a severe rib injury. And after an intriguing debut for Barton, it's a real shame to see him hit the pine so quickly after he was so effective for us. Joel Iwe-Beniwe will line up next to Jordan Brooks for the next 4 weeks, and I'm kind of excited because that is a fun name to say. We'll see if he can break out a little bit. He's a decent tackler and a pretty good athlete at off-ball linebacker. So that wraps up Season 2 of the Seahawks Franchise Rebuild. Thanks for joining me on one of the most shocking Week 1 performances you will ever see. Next time you see me with Seattle, we'll watch our Seahawks and our first division test of the series. Fresh off an NFC Championship appearance, it's a 49er squad that we'll be traveling to. We'll also be simulating a handful of games as well as we try to make a dent in this Season 1 schedule. So all in all, thanks for coming out today. I'll see you guys later. Stay tuned for more Seahawks Rebuild on the channel and more series on the channel. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everybody.